To find out more about the role of monks in these protests, I spoke to Professor David Steinberg from Georgetown University, who's currently at the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies in Singapore. But first he told me why he was opposed to sanctions being imposed on Burma's military regime.
Well, because I followed them from the very beginning, and I felt that sanctions will cause a nationalistic reaction on the part of the Burmese leadership, and so they will say for their own legitimacy, we have to stand up to you Americans. And that's what one of the generals told me a couple of years ago when the sanctions went in from the United States in 2003.
Now, as you mentioned, you've met a general there, you've met several generals there. The regime in Burma has crushed any sign of dissent in the past. What, in your view, is the best way to engage with them?
Engagement at the certain levels is possible, but the leadership at the top, the one that really determines policy in that country. Therefore, it has to be at a very high level if engagement is to work. The idea that Ambassador Gambari is there today is important. It's an opportunity. I am not very hopeful about what will happen, but it is the best thing that we can do at this particular time.
Now, the monks are the only organized group in Burma apart from the army. Do you think the violence against them during these protests has seriously morally undermined the military regime?
I think it has hurt the military regime. Buddhism is a critical element of legitimacy for any government in that society. And eventually I think that it will cause a reaction among some of the members of the military itself. I think the military itself really feels that this has gone too far. Now, whether that means that anything will happen tomorrow is another matter. But over time, these things will build up until something will happen to cause a split within the military, I think.
Now, is there any indication that there are divisions happening within the army itself?
Well, we don't know that. Foreigners have basically been excluded from large numbers of the critical military officers. We're not allowed to see them, they're not allowed to see us, and so our knowledge is exceedingly limited. But all of these people are trained in the country, they have very little foreign experience, they're very insular, and that means that they may not realize what is happening in their own society that is affecting the outside world.
Is it known what has happened to the monks who've been arrested and detained?
We don't know, and the military has always been very careful about releasing any kind of information, and any of these pictures that might exist about violence directly to the monks would inflame public opinion and maybe inflame elements of the military as well.
Right. Professor David Steinberg, thank you very much for that analysis.
Thank you.